Hello everyone, please press subscribe, press follow, press the bell so you don't miss any new clips. Adorable treasured fox divine doctor mother overturning the heavens. Author by Co Chi Yi. Audio novels by Novelist. Adorable treasured fox, divine doctor mother overturning the heavens. Chapter 111, The Asking for Death by House. The crowd can only make a lamenting sigh after hearing that statement. In particular was the uncles and aunties part. It's enough to make everyone melt from how cute it was. What a good and sensible child this one is. How can anyone bear to bring harm to an innocent kid like that? Besides, making a naughty smile, I have my father and mother to back me up, so I'm not afraid of her. In that second, the crowd immediately had a reaction. That's right. Daikang had already publicly declared Bai Yan as his woman. If that's the case, wouldn't this little guy be his son? For old Madame Yu to make a move against Lord Kang's son, what sort of courage pill did she eat? Contrary to popular belief and those compassionate eyes coming her way, old Madame Yu didn't care. She knew full well about Bai Ruo drugging Bai Yan back then. Even the man was prepared by her that day, so how can Lord Kang possibly be the twerp's father? Someone come, bring him back with us. She yells out this order without thinking twice. Not even bothering to look at the old shameless woman, Bai Xiaocan instead continues to talk with the crowd. Uncles and aunties, my dear mother will likely come later to find me. Please tell her I'll be staying at the Bai house for a night before returning tomorrow morning. He had no plans to make a long stay at that place, otherwise, it would be bad if those people suddenly fall dead because he's playing them too hard. After leaving this request to the bystanders, Bai Xiaocan then walked towards the Bai estate with Bai Xiao leading him with one hand. Quiet the entire time, Little Rice has been squatting on Bai Xiao's shoulder until now. From his tiger eyes, a flicker of pity could be seen when he looked at the old granny, because he simply doesn't understand what's going through these people's head. Are they too bored that they must invite this little ancestor to their home? Ellipsis. When Bai Yan finally arrived at the scene, the little kid had already left. Through the informing words of the various people here, she now got a good idea of what happened. Miss, your son had been taken away by the old lady. You best go take him back, otherwise he will likely suffer at their hands. A random person kindly suggests this to her. Smirking, she softly replied, I understand, thank you. If her son was unwilling, then no one can compel him to do what he doesn't want to do. If that's the case, why not let him play then if he wished it? What's more, it's the Bai house who brought it upon themselves, so they can't blame anyone for what's going to happen. Though none on the street stopped the storm today, but the incident did get passed on to Daikang's ear eventually. Therefore, when he heard about old Madame Yu insulting his son, calling him a wild child, his face immediately turned into a scowl. Send a message to the criminal division, have them increase the punishment for Bai Ji. And if they ask for the reason, tell them it's because the Bai house said something they shouldn't have. Yes, Your Highness. The guards respectfully complied. But, what about the young child? He remains perplexed over why his master here would treat Bai Yan's son so differently. Was it all in order to pursue the lady? They invited the fox on their own, that's their fault then. The sudden comment from Daikang completely caught the guards here by surprise. Inviting the fox? What does that mean? There's no need to meddle in the matter, the little guy cannot lose in this. However, that doesn't mean he will tolerate others bullying his son. I understand. Cupping their hands, the guards then retreated from the premise. Alone once again, Daikang's unemotional face returned to the lake in front of him. Bai house. They sure like to die. Adorable treasured fox, divine doctor mother overturning the heavens. Chapter 112, Bad Child. Bai manner. With the baby tiger in hand, Bai Xiaocan silently followed behind the leading maid from the back. Eventually, they stopped in front of a wooden shed that's meant for the firewood. This is where you will sleep, the maid points ahead with her finger. A wooden shed. Due to his worry, Bai Xiao had tagged along to make sure the little guy doesn't get mistreated. Sure enough, his handsome face promptly turned dark after seeing this. Xuanhuan isn't only my sister's child, he's also my nephew. His lips curved into a cold smirk. Who allowed you to arrange for him a wooden shed? Biting her lips, the maid answered with the truth. This is the old madam's arrangement. Old madam, Baisio snickered with contempt. She's nothing but an outsider, so what gives her the right to make the arrangements? Under the young boy's pressuring stare, the maid could only silently take it with her head held low. Although old Madam Yu was indeed an outsider, but none of the servants here would take it that way. Young master, please don't make things difficult for me, otherwise, when the Lord returns. Scram! Baisio roars. Go back and tell her I will arrange for my nephew's place of stay. I don't need an outsider managing our affair. After leaving behind this statement, Baisio stopped looking at the maid entirely. Leaning down, he picks up the adorable little steam bun and turns around for the exit. Xuanhuan, you will sleep with me tonight. Then when morning comes around, I will send you back to your mother's place. There should be a side room at your quarter, right? Xuanhuan continues to show that innocent and bright face as he spoke. I can stay there. Also, whatever happens today, you must promise me you won't come over to check. Pretend nothing is happening, okay? Surprised by the strange request, Baisio subconsciously looked down to meet those dark eyes from the baby boy. Okay, I will do as you say. This little guy is nothing like a 5-year-old child. Sometimes he's so mature that even an adult cannot compare with him. Little rice, let's go. Making the cutest smile one can make, Xuanhuan's eye literally glowed at this point. In truth, they are very similar to Daikang's bloodthirsty gaze without the bloodthirsty part. Very scheming and foxy, like when they are thinking up something bad for their foes. Ellipsis. At this very moment in the east wing of the Bai estate, Yurong had just finished jumping up from her seat. Mother, how could you bring that little runt here? To think Bai Yan's son wasn't lost back then, and it's such an unbearable kid that don't even know how to respect their elders. What sort of future can such a child possibly have? Back then I couldn't sell Bai Yan after she ran away, so now, I'm going to sell her son. A cruel light shot out of the old woman's eye just now because she had just remembered the price they paid after not keeping their end of the bargain. Just thinking of the incident would make her old heart ache with pain. Yurong was surprised by her mother's statement. Mother, we were able to sell Bai Yan back then because Zheng Xiang wasn't home at the time. Even if my husband favors us even more, he's not going to sell his own flesh and blood. In truth, back when Lan Yu's mother was still alive, Bai Zheng Xiang's attitude towards Bai Yan and Bai Xiao was rather good. It's just that later in the years, due to the constant whispering and downgrading by Yurong, the original bond he had with the two were eventually torn away and only disappointment remains. But disappointment was disappointment. It's not enough to warrant the man to sell his own children for some Dan pills. That was unless the benefits involved were great enough to tempt him. Adorable treasured fox, divine doctor mother overturning the heavens. Chapter 113, Lady Chu. Idiot. The old lady's voice turned into a scolding one. Bai Zheng Xiang wants to make a connection with the flower brothel, so do you think he will still blame you after we finish the deed? Now, don't worry about your husband and go coax that little boy to follow us there. If it's really not possible, beaming a cruel light, then we can force it. Force it? Yurong slightly wrinkled her brow, but we still don't know if the flower brothel will take the boy. Let me first draw up a portrait so the other side can have a look. If they say yes, then we can have the flower brothel come take him away instead. This way around, the matter will have nothing to do with themselves, leaving Bai Yan with no recourse to turn to. If she has the ability, she can always go to the flower brothel herself for her son. But would she dare? With this kid's appearance, the flower brothel will definitely agree. Moreover, this kid is still the Bai family's blood. He can't say no even if he wanted to. Mother, Yurong smiled. I happened to by chance meet a person some time ago. Take a guess who she is. Speaking up to here, the woman then pauses to build up the suspense. she is a member of the flower brothel. Even if the woman is only a pimpstress there, but it's good enough for us to build up a relationship to get what we want. I intend to seek her out first. If she agrees, then the matter will be settled. In reality, there's a reason why she would be so brazen like so, because it's well known the flower brothel would never sell out their customer's identity. What's more, even if Bai Yan finds out the truth, what can she do with her strength? Old Madame Yu's eyes lit up. Go look for her immediately. Once this is complete, I'm certain your husband will be grateful to you. Use Bai Yan's son to hook up with the flower brothel, what a good deal. Not bothering to waste her breath anymore, Yurong went ahead to disguise herself before going out. If this was before, she wouldn't need to go through so much trouble to visit an establishment. However, due to the news of her openly stripping in front of the public spreading across the city, she now fears being recognizing by anyone she knew. Ellipsis. Red Light District, a place where various women are busy waving their handkerchief to welcome possible patrons of their business. Normally, the brothels here would target a specific gender for their clients, but this was not the case for the flower brothel. They will service both men and women regardless of their taste. Even so, the female gender of this country was more self-conscious in their attitude. Basically, most women wouldn't try to seek out a male prostitute. Therefore, when everyone saw Yurong entering the lobby, the guests and ladies here were all quite surprised by her entry. Oh ho ho, are you here to look for excitement? Swaying left and right with her hip, a woman as beautiful as a flower comes over to greet her. We have everything here, especially the young girl we got a few days ago. Everyone who tried her would always say she's first rate. May I know what your interests are, male or female? Or would you like to try both at the same time? Yurong frowned as a flicker of disgust leaked out of her eye. Deliberately lowering her voice, Lady Chu, it's me. I've come to seek your help. Making a surprised look, the one called Lady Chu gasped, it's you. Can we talk inside? Yurong's voice was very low as her eyes scanned the surroundings with vigilance. Smiling seductively, all right, come with me then. Hearing this, Yurong finally exhaled a sigh of relief because this would be her chance to get close to those elders and guardians of the flower brothel. Adorable treasured fox, divine doctor mother overturning the heavens. Chapter 114. I'm his grandmother. Inside the private room, a waft of soothing fragrance could be picked up by the nose upon entry. This left Yurong very uncomfortable because she's accustomed to these types of settings. I have a child in my hand that looks very good, even better than those fairy boys from the stories. I can sell him to you. Lady Chu pricked her brow. Doesn't this Bai family only have one grandson? It can't be, she's daring enough to sell a child of the royal family. Madam Bai, as far as I know, there is only one grandchild in your family and that is the son of Crown Prince Nangong Yi. Don't tell me you are planning to sell the royal grandson to our flower brothel. No. Yurong hurriedly shook her head. I still have another grandson. He is Bai Yan's son. I have here his portrait, so please have a look. After that, she immediately took out the rushed portrait and laid it out in front of the woman. Although Lady Chu continues to keep up her smile while she did so, those eyes are clearly cold. Madam Bai, I heard that Bai Yan's mother is Lan Yu. If that's the case, you technically don't count as her mother, meaning you are not the child's grandmother. Do you even have the right to decide his fate? This woman is real bold. She actually has the audacity to sell mistress's own son. And of all the places they want to sell to, it's the flower brothel. Lady Chu, that's your misunderstanding. Making an assuring smile, Bai Yan's mother died early on, making me her mother now. If I want to sell my own grandson, then that's a matter of course. You can see that face too. The kid is definitely a 1 in 1,000. And if you still aren't satisfied, then you can even take Bai Yan along with him. For them both, I only have one condition. I want to see the head of the flower brothel, or even an elder or guardian will do too. Madam Bai, we have a rule here in the flower brothel. If anyone wishes to sell themselves to us, they must come in person and agree to the terms. Otherwise, we will never accept them. Slowly standing up, Lady Chu's voice became a tad colder than before. So, you can leave now. I will not break the rules for you. Lady Chu, getting up from her seat immediately, Yurong looked very anxious in her eyes. This child is a stubborn one, so unless the flower brothel handles him. Someone come, send our customer away. After leaving behind this sentence, Lady Chu swiftly walked out of the private room and out the flower brothel. As soon as she did so, she made sure to keep an extra eye out for her own back to make sure none was tailing her. Determining it's safe, only then did she make her way to a certain old manor in the city. As Lady Fate would have it, she ends up bumping into the one she seeks right outside the gate, which was Huoluo, the head of the flower brothel. Lady Chu pays her greeting to head. She hurriedly made a small curtsy as a form of respect. Finding how rushed her subordinate was in coming over, Huoluo's brow inexplicably curled into a knot. You came to see me. Yes, head. Yurong visited me just now, and she also brought a portrait of the little master. In that second, Huoluo's face instantly went darkly cold, and then sell by Xiakan to the flower brothel. Just hearing this was enough to make her laugh from the hearts down. She asked to see you as payment, but I rejected her offer and came over right away to report this to you. Telling the truth, Lady Chu was still slightly huffing in her voice due to how fast she walked over here. Don't worry about it, just keep tabs on that shameless woman like before. If there's any movement, report it to me immediately. With the wisdom of the little master, the Bai family can forget about succeeding against him. Stunned by the instruction, Lady Chu started to grumble with a hint of discontent and soreness in her voice. Head, when can I stop doing this task? Dealing with that disgusting woman every day will make me go crazy at this rate. Since the day she got close to Yurong as per ordered, the disgusting woman had constantly tried to bridge a link between her Bai family and the flower brothel. After being annoyed more than 5 times a day, she in the end had to make up an excuse and say she's too low standing to achieve such a favor. Only like that did the pesky fly stop having wishful thoughts. Adorable treasured fox, divine doctor mother overturning the heavens. Chapter 115. Arson 1. Wait until mistress completely destroys the Bai family, then you can rest. Destroy the Bai family, when is that then? Frowning, Lady Chu complies anyways. I will take my leave then. She knows Huoluo's personality quite well. Once the woman says something, she won't easily change her mind. As such, Lady Chu can only continue to approach that disgusting woman. Ellipsis. At the same time somewhere else, Yurong had just returned to her home after meeting with Lady Chu at the flower brothel. Considering how worried her eyes look, it's certainly not a good thing. Sure enough, a glimmer of cruelty could be found inside her irises just then. Quickly picking up her pace, she heads for the east wing of the estate. Inside his room, Bai Xiakan was currently teasing the little tiger when he suddenly heard a series of loud footsteps outside his door. Little Rice, she's coming. A bright and beautiful smile escapes that cute face. As soon as his voice died down, the door was pushed open and in came Yurong in her extravagant get-up. You are Xiakan, right? I am your grandmother. Really? Climbing up from the ground, Bai Xiakan's big innocent eye sparkled with deviousness. I have another grandmother. Seeing the innocent appearance of the steam bun, Yurong only had contempt in her face. Nothing but an ordinary child. I wonder how he could make mother get so angry. It's true. Chuckling with sinister tone, years ago when your mother was still around, your great-grandmother loved her the most. But because of how unfilial and morally corrupt she was, I had to worry about her every single day. Bai Xiakan's smile grew even more innocent. But my mother told me my other grandmother is long gone already. Now there's only an old witch left in the Bai house. Can I know if you are that old witch? In a flash, that pretentious smile on the woman's face stiffened up. If she could, Yurong would love to smack the little thing to death at this point. However, recalling her purpose for coming here, she resisted the urge to lash out. Continuing on with her awkward smile, you are wrong. What your mother wanted to tell you is I am your grandmother, and the one that's dead is the old witch that likes to seduce men. Even if Lan Yu was dead years ago, Yu Rong's hatred for the woman remains as strong as ever because if it weren't for her, she herself wouldn't have been stuck being a concubine for so many years. Then did you bring me some sugar beans? Raising those watery and anticipating eyes, the boy's voice was meltingly soft to the ear. Nothing but a child still. Making a cynical smirk, Yu Rong then went ahead to bring out a handful of real sugar beans from her pocket. Xiakan, these sugar beans are your cousin's favorite snack. He's the royal grandson, a boy that's loved by thousands. Before her words could even finish, Bai Xiakan had already snatched one into his mouth. But without so much as a bite, the boy promptly spat it back out. These gross sugar beans wouldn't even be palatable for my little rice here. How can you give me such nasty stuff? What my mother said is right, you are the old witch. His voice all grumpy and innocent despite all that foulness. Going from green to white, then from white to green, Yu Rong's expression looked so distorted that any random kid would instantly cry from fright, as expected of that little bitch's son. No wonder my mother would be so annoyed by you. I will hand you over to the flower brothel, then you will know what it means to be a proper child. At that time, you will wish you were dead. Once Yu Rong revealed her true self, Bai Xiakan likewise too stopped keeping up his act. You want to sell me to the flower brothel? What is going on in your head that you can't resolve? Currently grooming himself on the side, Little Rice also nodded in approval because he too was wondering what's going on inside this woman's head. Sell his little master to the flower brothel. She must have something she can't resolve inside to do something so stupid. Adorable treasured fox, divine doctor mother overturning the heavens. Chapter 116. Arson 2. Bai Xiakan. Gritting her teeth, you are a part of the Bai family, so it's only right that you offer yourself for the family. My mother told me that the entire Bai family are human traffickers. I didn't believe her before, but now I do. Still making an innocent smile, Bai Xiakan follows up with the most contradicting statement, but my mother told me it's good to help others, so here's my advice. You have a grandson so you can sell him to achieve your goal if you need. Now his expression becomes a proud one, seemingly waiting for Yu Rong to praise him for the good idea. But there's no way she would do that because the woman in question was going crazy mad at this point. As expected, like mother like son. 6 years ago Bai Yan also said the same thing to her. If she wishes to sell someone, she can sell Bai Ji or Bai Ruo instead. Bai Xiakan, I'm telling you now, as your grandmother, I have the right to decide your fate. Raising her chin high in the air, not to mention my grandson is the royal grandchild. One day he's destined to rule the kingdom. He's not someone a bastard child like you can compare with. Turning sharp in his gaze, there's one thing the little guy hated the most, and that was being called a bastard child. Little Rice, bite her for me. Meow. Without delay, Little Rice's body arched into a hunting position and pounced at the hateful woman. Next moment later, Yu Rong's entire chest area had become stained with blood. Yelling out in pain, Yu Rong's anger could reach the very sky at this point. Stinking cat, scram. In one wave, she sends a slap straight for Little Rice's face. Unfortunately for her, the baby tiger easily dodged the swipe and made a second bite for the most vulnerable spot he can find. This time the pain literally causes Yu Rong's voice to distort due to how high her shriek was. Jumping up and down with excitement, Bai Xiakan was absolutely enjoying the torturous scene. Unfortunately for him though, the show didn't last very long before the guards came running over to find the trembling woman standing there. Madam. They quickly rushed over, which was also the signal for Little Rice to return to the boy's side. Go smack that cat until it's dead. Then lock this brat up. Yu Rong roars with hatred in her eye. She has never been treated like this before, so it's a must she get back at the perpetrator. First licking his paws to show off his gleaming claws, Little Rice only had disdain in his tiger eyes as he watched the guards. Naturally, this completely infuriated Yu Rong. What are you all doing? Go. Yes, ma'am. Immediately, the guards pulled out their weapons to carry out their order. Watching the encroaching men coming his way, by Xiaocan's eye suddenly released a glimmer of red from his foxy eyes. It was also at this instant that the guards found their legs stopping on their own. It's as if they've been plastered to the ground and unable to move. What are you all doing? Yu Rong shouts, still glaring daggers at the boy. No matter how she looked at it, the smile from the kid remains very hateful. Tilting his small little head, Bai Xiaocan makes the most innocent giggle. You old witch, I heard you bullied my mother and my uncle back then. Is it true? You. How can Yu Rong not understand what's going on by now? What innocent boy, what innocent face. That's all an act. Making a broad grin, Bai Xiaocan then raises a finger out and released a emerald green fox fire at the tip. Little rice, we haven't set a place on fire for a long while now. I remember the last time we did this was at the treasure vault belonging to my grandchiefess. Though this place can't be compared to back home, but I'm sure there's bound to be something of value still. Adorable treasured fox, divine doctor mother overturning the heavens. Chapter 117, The Child Arsonist. Yu Rong's eyes changed from the initial horror to a direct panic. What are you planning to do? Her voice sounded abnormally high-pitched right now. I am just trying to scare you there, to think you would take it so seriously. The Bai family will eventually fall into Uncle's hands, so of course I won't burn away his property. His uncle already mentioned it before. The reasoning he wouldn't leave this place was so that the wealth their mother brought over wouldn't fall into this bad woman's hand. You. Gnashing her teeth, Yu Rong roared, you dare scare me? If you still don't leave, then don't blame me for burning your home. Despite his young age, Bai Xiaocan's voice and attitude already carried the image of a king. No longer soft and melting here, his words are commanding and strong. You think you can still leave after coming here? Vicious in her words, just wait until your grandfather returns. When he does, I will have him properly teach you a lesson. Having said this, Yu Rong made a heavy grunt and then led the guards away. But before she left, she made sure to lock up the door so the runt can't escape. Once out of sight, the woman then gave the guards behind her an angry glare. All of you are useless, can't even handle a single child. Madam, one of the guards weakly replied, the cat from back there, I think it's a demon beast. We couldn't move at all when we tried. Demon beast? These two words causes Yu Rong to go gloomy. Even if it is a demon beast, there is still a difference between weak and strong. Did you not see that little kitty? How strong can it possibly be? When my husband comes back, I will have that runt and his pesky cat suffer. Just thinking about the words from the runt would make her face distort even more. Ellipsis. Night. A time where the moon rises and the sun falls. Yu Rong remains anxiously waiting inside her room for her husband's return. Due to the matter with Bai Ji being locked inside the prison, Bai Zhengxiang had been running around all day for a solution. Then all of a sudden, the darkness became lit ablaze with a powerful light from the other end of the estate. What happened? Yu Rong immediately stood up, her complexion not looking so well. Madam, a guard rushes into the room. Due to the oppressive gaze coming his way, the man immediately lost his nerve and took to the floor. There seems to be a fire going on at the young master's quarter. It's said to have originated from the side room. Bai Xiao's side room. Isn't that where the runt is staying? Going dark in her complexion, Yu Rong harshly lashes out, what are you still doing here then? Go put out the fire. Although she hated the little runt, but the loss she will incur wouldn't be small if the kid does die inside the fire. Yes, madam. Accepting the order, the guard retreats. Very soon, the entire estate was screaming with calls to put out the flame. Ellipsis. Naturally, the first one to take notice of the fire was Bai Xiao since his room was the closest. But before he could run inside to save his nephew, the guards had already blocked him in his path. Young master, you can't go in. Scram. Filled with rage, Bai Xiao's voice was frosty and cold. Don't make me say it a second time. Inside was his precious nephew, so how can he just stand by and watch? Therefore, he must go in or regret will forever plague his mind. Young master, the fire is very strong right now. You really can't go inside. Boom. As soon as those words came to an end, the guard in question instantly found his chest being smashed in by a powerful punch and flew out. If anything happens to my nephew, then I will have you wrong die with him as compensation. After dropping this sentence, he didn't think at all and wanted to rush into the sea of flame. However, it was at this moment when a soft melting voice chimed in from the side, freezing up that body as a result. Adorable treasured fox, divine doctor mother overturning the heavens. Chapter 118, by Xuanhuan is the scheming Xuanhuan. Uncle, what are you doing? This sound was very familiar, so familiar that it caused Bai Xiao to tear up on the spot. He slowly turned around, and in that moment a small tiny figure appeared before his eyes. A bit messy in the hair, a bit dirty on the face, and a few holes in his clothes, but the baby boy was perfectly fine otherwise. If anyone needs to complain here, it should be Little Rice because he has a few burnt patches of fur on his body. Xuanhuan. Bai Xiao only needed a few big strides to step up to his nephew here. Holding the precious boy in his arms, he couldn't stop his hands from violently shaking due to how happy yet fearful he was. It's good that you are fine. Seemingly aware of his uncle's fear, Bai Xiao didn't make any movements here and simply allowed Bai Xiao to firmly hug him. Tell me, what happened? Still shaky in his voice, he only relented that firm hug after a long while because he can't even imagine what sort of fate would befall this little guy if he didn't come out. Uncle. Shrinking his tiny body further into his uncle's chest, that tender voice was rather pitiful to the ear when heard. I want to go home. These people are all bad and mean. Okay, I'll take you home. Seeing the aggrieved look on the little steam bun, Bai Xiao can only feel his heart tensing up in pain. Standing up with the boy in his embrace, the two headed for the outside without bothering with the burning wreckage in the background. But as it so happens, this was exactly the moment when Xuanhuan and old Madame Yu came over with their people to help put out the fire. Seeing the boy wanting to take her prize away, Xuanhuan immediately grew furious. Where are you going with that twerp? Forming a sneering smirk, Bai Xiao laid it out bluntly. I'm sending him back to his mother. And who said you can leave? Seething in her eyes, she roars, without my permission, no one is leaving this household. Don't joke around, I still need this little beast to build up a relationship with the flower brothel. Seeing his uncle's fist tightening into a ball, Bai Xiao swiftly hooked his tiny hands around the boy's neck and cried, Uncle, run. As soon as that abrupt cry came out from below, Bai Xiao didn't even need to think twice and made a dash for the outside. He knew far too well what sort of people they were, so it didn't even strike him as odd his nephew would say something like this. Chase after them. Don't let them run away. Xuanhuan angrily stamped her feet as she gave out that order. Then looking to the side, she made another order to a maid. Go find my husband right now. After escaping from the crowd inside, it didn't take long for Bai Xiao to flee out of the estate with the baby boy in hand. Then like a pre-orchestrated act, Bai Xiao suddenly burst into tears here, raising the awareness of every pedestrian nearby on the street to that miserable cry. Though many of these people never met the baby boy here, but they are perfectly aware of his identity and that he's Bai Yan's son. The reasoning, it's because of the incident earlier today where Bai Xiao made such a big scene in front of the open public. Pretty much the entire city are talking about it now. Don't cry, Xuanhuan, I will bring you back to your mother now and will never bring you here again. Watching the weeping child in his arms, Bai Xiao became very distressed inside. That fire must have scared him. It was also at this moment that the guards came running out from the building. Making a circling formation, they blocked off any path for escape for the two here. Then, as if frightened by the appearance of Xuanhuan and old Madame Yu that came out soon afterwards, the baby boy's cry grew even louder. Wah! I beg you, please don't sell me. Don't light me on fire. I really am good and obedient. Uncle, I want to go find mother. I don't want to be sold to the flower brothel. Adorable treasured fox, divine doctor mother overturning the heavens. Chapter 119, Bai Xiao is the scheming one too. Boom. The crowd instantly exploded. There's shock, there's horror, and there's disbelief. The Bai family would actually sell their own grandchild to the flower brothel and set him on fire. They never knew that the madam of the Bai house would be such a cruel and heartless person. How can someone do such immortal deeds? What are you talking about? Xuanhuan literally went blue in the face here. It's no lie, I wanted to sell him, but when did I set him on fire? Trembling again with that tiny body, Bai Xiaocan scurried even closer to his uncle's chest at the yell. Distressed over the little guy's appearance, Bai Xiao gently rubs that head to soothe the fear. Don't be afraid, Xiaocan, I won't let anyone hurt you here. Tell me, what happened? Uncle, you wouldn't sell me, right? Sniffling with his nose, that dirty face only made his innocent act even more believable. I really am good, please don't sell me. At this point Bai Xiao can only feel his heart being ripped apart. Due to the excruciating pain, his forehead inexplicably furrowed into a knot despite keeping his gentle look at the boy. Don't worry, I will never sell you to anyone. Then that's relieving. Slowly exhaling to match that sentence, he then begins to explain. This old woman just now claimed to be my grandmother and demanded I go voluntarily offer myself to the flower brothel. I didn't want to and told them I want to see my mother. Then that woman said my mother don't matter and that only she can decide my fate. In that instant, both contempt and disgust all fell upon Xuanhuan's body, leaving no question about how the crowd felt about this. Under those scrutinizing and deploring eyes, Xuanhuan started to shake incessantly. Angrily pointing at the little runt, she lashes out without bothering to keep up her image. Bai Xiaocan, if you keep slandering me, then I will rip out that dirty mouth of yours. Shuddering again like before at the holler, the baby boy shrinks further back into his uncle's chest and hid his face from sight. Uncle, I'm so scared. Earlier when I said I don't want to go to the flower brothel, she said she will tie me up and burn me with fire. That tender voice still sounding pitiful as ever, winning the hearts of the crowd even more. Originally I thought she was only threatening me, but when night came around, she really did that. If not for Little Rice helping me to escape in time, I wouldn't get to see Uncle anymore. Turning all sobby, nothing can possibly break through the kid's act at this point. Sure enough, Bai Xiao felt immeasurable guilt over bringing his nephew to the Bai house today. If I had failed, he can't even imagine the consequences at the thought. Likely sensing the emotions seeping out of the young man's body, Bai Xiaocan's clutching hand grew even tighter because this was mainly caused by his lie. But for his mother, he can only wrong his uncle here for a bit. When it's over, he will certainly explain everything. Don't listen to his nonsense. Xuanhuan had gone completely crazy by now. Her eyes maddeningly red as she shouted aloud, he is Bai Yan's son, so he's definitely not any good either. It's all a lie, a slandering claim. For these words, the audience only had a scorned look on their faces because they didn't buy it at all. A 5-year-old kid can lie. Look at that frightened face and trembling body. Bai Xiaocan, Xuanhuan angrily roars, it was clearly you who had that freaking cat bite me. Now you are twisting the story and claiming it's me who's trying to harm you. Do you have no shame? Madam Bai, it was through great difficulty that Bai Xiao even managed to say that much. There are so many guards in the Bai house, plus your strength isn't weak either, so you actually expect us to believe your nonsense. Do you take us for fools? Gritting her teeth to the point it's making a grating sound, that's no ordinary cat, it's a demon beast. Adorable treasured fox, divine doctor mother overturning the heavens. Chapter 120, Ruined 1. Demon beast. Everyone was surprised. Turning their head, they all had their sight on the little cat squatting on the boy's shoulder. Meow. Licking his paws, the little white cat had a clean look that meant, I am just an ordinary cat, not some demon beast you all think I am. How laughable, an ordinary cat would turn into a demon beast under your mouth. I believe the child's words. If he's faking it, then his acting skills are too realistic. How can a 5-year-old child be so good? Listening those discussions, Xuanhuan's face became extremely ugly. Sweeping her angry gaze over the crowd, a dangerous gleam emulated out of her eye. If I hear anyone maligning me again, then don't blame me for being rude. Though unreasonable and ridiculous, her statement did hold enough weight to silence the crowd. Smearing with contempt, Yurong then thought, so what? As long as I don't admit it, then these people can't do anything. Oh, Madam Bai, your place sure is lively. The sudden entry of this charming voice left Yurong utterly frozen on the spot. Looking in front at the woman coming over, she made an uncomfortable expression. What are you doing here? In the entire city, pretty much everyone knew who this Lady Chu of the flower brothel was. Considering her background, none would dare provoke or touch her unless there's some sort of great grudge. As such, the crowd was starting to suspect whether or not Yurong had some sort of relationship with this Lady Chu. Maybe there's some under-the-table deal that they don't know yet. I had just finished telling one of my superiors about your proposal and they are very interested. Now then, where is that grandson of yours that you spoke about? I remember his name is called by Xuanhuan, is it not? Masking a charming smile, the seductive woman scans the crowd with her meaningful gaze. Going white instantly in her complexion, Yurong attempts to salvage the situation. I don't know what you are talking about. Next second, Lady Chu's face went dark. What? You want to go back on your words? Who is it that came to my place today and said they want to sell their own grandson? Now that I've spent so much effort and got my superior's attention, you go and turn around and refuse. Wow. Talk about being sensational. This literally exploded among crowd, raising all sorts of looks and discussions among the people. She claims the baby boy's words are fake, then what about Lady Chu's? Slightly trembling in her lips, Yurong didn't know how to react. For some reason, she's got the aching sensation that everything was a setup and she's being conned into it. Yurong, squeezing his hand into a tight hard ball, Bai Xiao's eyes were bloodshot red as he spoke. What grandmother? My mother passed away long ago. You're nothing but a snake-hearted and poisonous woman. My nephew here is but a baby boy, yet you can still try to sell him to the flower brothel. Boom. Practically exploding inside her mind, Yurong staggered backwards from losing her balance. Right now, she only knew her image she had so painstakingly built up over the years became ruined in this instant. Move aside, move aside. All of a sudden, a series of footsteps drifted over. Once the guards managed to clear a path through the encircling crowd, an old-looking man came forward. I am the housekeeper of the Xuanhuan family. This time I am here to retrieve the Dan pill from Yurong. Moving up to the dazed woman, he makes a condescending face. Madam Bai, I heard Bai Yan is back, so why didn't you notify me? My master would still like to make her his concubine, but before then, I would like you to return the Dan pill we gave you from 6 years ago for Bai Yan's hand in marriage. Despite the girl escaping in the end, you never bothered to return the wedding gift we gave you. End of the chapter. Adorable treasured fox divine Dr. Mother overturning the heavens, will be read in 10 chapters for every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday and Sunday. Please leave this sound novel and press subscribe, follow, and the bell so you don't miss any new clips as well. See you.